The Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, known as FERPA, is a federal law designed to protect the privacy of students' educational records. The law applies to all schools that receive funds under an applicable program of the U.S. Department of Education. FERPA guidelines protect students by guarding against the release of their academic records without their consent. FERPA protects educational records of current and formerly enrolled students, regardless of their age or parental dependency status. FERPA gives parents certain rights with respect to their children's education records. These rights transfer to the student when he or she reaches the age of 18 or attends a school beyond the high school level. In order for another individual, even a parent, to have access to a student's information, written consent is necessary. FERPA does not protect educational records of deceased students or students who have applied to Florida State University but have not attended classes. Students who are 18 or older or are attending a post-secondary institution have 4 specific rights. They have the ability to view the information the institution holds, a right to seek amendment of those records and, in certain cases, append a statement to the record, the ability to consent to disclosure of their records, and a right to file a complaint with the FERPA office in Washington, D.C. An educational record is any record maintained by an institution that can personally identify a student or group of students. FERPA is independent of technology, so these records could be any type of media, such as, but not limited to, handwritten, print, email, files, documents, tapes, discs, film, etc. Virtually any information provided by a student to the university to be used in the educational process or provided by a faculty or staff member in regard to a student's education is considered a student educational record. These records include personal information, enrollment records, grades, class attendance records, and schedules. Some examples of student educational records include paper documents in the student records office, computer printouts in an instructor's office, a class list on your desktop computer, printed class rosters or roll sheets, student grades or personal information on a computer display screen, papers or other student work with grades written on them, or sole possession notes. Sole possession notes are personal observation or recollection notes made and kept by individuals. Sharing these notes or placing these notes in a public view area makes them educational records and subject to FERPA. As a general rule of thumb, if you don't want it to become an educational record, don't write it down. This includes both handwritten and electronic notes. Directory information can be made available to the general public, unless the student notifies the Office of Admissions and Records in writing to withhold that information. All student information not on the directory information list is not public information and is protected under FERPA, which supersedes Florida's Sunshine State Open Records laws. It should not be released to a third party without the student's consent. Directory information includes the following: the student's name, date and place of birth, local address, permanent address, a telephone number if listed, classification, and major. Directory information also includes a student's participation in official university activities and sports, the weight and height of athletic team members, dates of university attendance, degrees, honors, and awards received, the most recently attended educational institution, a digitized FSU card photo, and an employee ID. In accordance with FERPA, if a school official requires information located in a student's educational record to fulfill university-related responsibilities, that official has a legitimate educational interest. A school official acts in the student's educational interest on a legitimate need-to-know basis. Legitimate educational interests include such purposes as performing appropriate tasks that are specified in her or his position description or by a contract agreement, performing a task related to a student's education, performing a task related to the discipline of a student, and providing services for the student or the student's family, such as health care, counseling, job placement, or financial aid. Legitimate educational interest does not convey inherent rights to any and all student information. The law discriminates between educational interest and personal or private interest, and determinations are made on a case-by-case basis. Remember, educational interest does not constitute authority to disclose information to a third party without the student's written permission. When a student reaches the age of 18 or begins attending a post-secondary institution, regardless of age, FERPA rights transfer from the parent to the student. To receive non-directory information, parents or any other interested party must be named by the student as a delegate through the delegated access process. Should a parent or other third party contact you regarding a student, you must check for authorization prior to releasing any information. For more information on checking a student's delegates, see the website listed here. If a student wishes to allow his or her parents to speak with you about confidential academic matters, the student will have to provide signed consent using one of the official university forms. FERPA does permit the disclosure of information from student educational records to appropriate parties in connection with an emergency if knowledge of the information is necessary to protect the health or safety of the student or other individuals. This exception does not authorize broadcast disclosures, but a limited disclosure to a limited number of people, made in good faith, in light of the facts available at the time. There are many commonly employed teaching practices that actually violate FERPA guidelines. Some of these include the improper handling of student papers, the public posting of grades, asking students to swap papers and grade each other's work, and communicating with parents. A common violation of FERPA involves placing graded materials in public places for retrieval by the student. These are all considered public places. A box or envelope outside one's office or studio, in an instructor's mailbox in the mailroom or in the main music office, and in a stack on the teacher's desk where students look through the papers to find their own. The public posting of grades, either by the student's name or full Social Security number without the student's written permission, is also a FERPA violation. This includes the posting of grades to an unsecure class website and applies to any public posting of grades for students taking distance education courses. Instructors and others who post grades should use a system that ensures that FERPA requirements are met. Grades may be posted to a university-sanctioned secure course management system, such as Canvas, but even then, grades are not completely secure unless students are careful to log out whenever leaving the system. It's important to note that emailing final grades is a violation of university policy. There is minimal guarantee of confidentiality with email. The institution would be held responsible if an unauthorized third party gained access in any manner to a student's educational record through any electronic transmission method. If email is the primary vehicle for communicating with online students, remember, emailing project and assignment grades is acceptable, but emailing final grades is a violation of university policy. A student's request for school officials to disclose sensitive information, such as a grade, must come from the student's official email account, not from personal accounts such as Gmail, Hotmail, or Yahoo. It's customary for faculty and instructors to retain student grade information for at least a year in an electronic or paper gradebook, and to retain one or more documents, such as a final paper or final exam, that demonstrates that the student completed the course or not, and the quality of the student's work. This time span allows for any questions regarding the student's grade to be addressed. Please note, you may not destroy records related to any student matter that is under investigation. For policies related to the retention of educational records, ask the supervisor of your area or academic department. Here are some tips to help you maintain compliance with FERPA. Do not, at any time, use the entire Social Security number of a student in the public posting of grades. Don't ever link the name of a student with that student's Social Security number in any public manner. Don't leave graded tests in a stack for students to pick up by sorting through the papers of all students. Don't circulate a printed class list with student names and Social Security numbers or grades as an attendance roster. Don't discuss the progress of any student with anyone other than the student, including parents, without the consent of the student. Finally, don't provide anyone with lists of students enrolled in your classes for any commercial purpose. This concludes the video on the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. For more information regarding specific topics introduced in this video, see the websites of the registrar listed here.